We are joined now by former Panthers star Bill Lindsay. He's currently on the radio with Dougie Plagans doing the games. Dougie, the play-by-play. You're an awesome color commentator. I always say this when I see you, that call last year when they won it all, the pure emotion that came out of you. It was just one of the best, championship calls I've ever heard. Are you starting to get those feels again? Do you feel those emotions coming again as they head to their third straight final?
Yeah, you get ramped up. I remember the first time that we got to the final against Vegas, and I was working at the NHL Network. I was almost in tears. I couldn't believe that we'd actually made a Stanley Cup final. We win the championship last year. All that emotion, that outburst that you feel. Then you get in the Eastern Conference Finals again this year, and you're trying to cherish it. Just, this is crazy what's happening with our team. But it almost becomes, yeah, here we go again. These deep playoff rides. It's hard to explain the difference in all three to kind of where you curtail it. The excitement is definitely there, without question. It's just the difference in all the rides. It's just so special to be along with each and every one of them. But to get there 3 years in a row, and even with the guys on the team celebrating with the trophy, it's like, okay, we're supposed to be here. This is our expectation. And now we got one more series, which we're trying to do, and that is win back-to-back Stanley Cups. But yeah, I'm still pretty emotional about it.
Yeah, Matthew Tkachuk has said several times this week that, he says, nothing against the past teams, but this team needed the new blood to be able to pull this off again, to be able to have a chance to win back-to-back cups. Just a different hunger, different guys. Can you understand that? I'm sure you can as a former NHL star yourself, how every year you sort of need new elements to be able to keep this up.
Yeah, it's extremely tough in the salary cap era, and what we've been able to do with Bill Zito, the changes that he made. And that statement by Matthew Tkachuk is correct. You lose Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Brandon Montour, Marchand comes into the room, Nate Schmidt comes in, Seth Jones, different kind of players that are hungry again, either for their first Stanley Cup or in Marchand's case, trying to get a second one. And that kind of just brings that energy into the room, or maybe you're lacking throughout the course of the regular season. But there's that extra push, especially from a player like Marchand. He is critical in all of this. He's loud, he's abrasive, and he's one of the nicest guys you'll meet off the ice. And he's excited. And then 37 years old, I saw him running through before game number 5 against Carolina, and he was just running down the hall with his suit tie on and everything. Just said, "Old man coming through late for bus, old man." He's sprinting. So he's enjoying it. That rubs off on the teammates, and they know what to expect. Tkachuk and Barkov, but sometimes you need that element, that new flavor in the room. Okay, well, these guys haven't been here, and they're doing everything we can. So it's imperative on us now, again, to give our best. And that's what's critical, John, in a dressing room, is that guy beside you, you have an extreme fear of failure because they're working so hard, not for yourself, but for your teammates. And you add these players in and the new dimensions that they have, and there is a little bit more thirst that gets involved.
I saw it firsthand after Marchand scored that overtime winning goal in Game 3 versus Toronto. 4 periods had been played. The media goes into the locker room, all but 10 minutes later. You'd think they would just be satisfied with a night's work. Marchand is on the whiteboard with 2 other players talking about plays that had gone wrong. And if you guys are here, then this should be me here and that. And I thought, my God, that explains everything. That's why this guy is so great. He's just always, eating and breathing hockey, even after a dramatic victory.
Yeah, that's really important. And he thought maybe when he was coming here, he's played first line everywhere he's been. And with Bergeron, a Selke Trophy winner, he thought, okay, maybe I'll slide in with Barkov and Reinhart onto that line. And it ended up being Lundell and Louis Arena and a couple of younger kids compared to his age at 37. And he has talked to those guys continuously. He knows how good they are defensively. And Marchand is one of the great all-time wingers, defensive wingers in the history of our league. Shorthanded, killing penalties, all that kind of stuff. And a couple more years, he'll get to 1,000 points. He'll be a Hall of Famer, which is crazy to think about. But he started in that role, third line role, fourth line role. And he's been on Lundell, been on Lewis-Serene. Guys, we're good defensively. Make plays. Make plays. We have it on our stick. Yeah. Make plays. Let's go. And that's why the whiteboard's out. He wants these guys to tap into their offensive ability. He understands we're good. Yeah. We got that part at the other end of the ice. It's good. Now we have to figure out, once we get on our stick, what are we going to do with it? And it has really paid off. Lundell, Lewis-Serene, and especially, they've been dynamite in these playoffs. That line has outscored the opposition 10-2 at even strength throughout the course of these playoffs. And when it gets into depth, good luck matching up against that third line. It's a nightmare matchup for the opponents. And it's big. Marchand, you can't really say enough about him and what he has meant to this team, to the locker room, and especially to those young players, just getting and bringing the most out of them.
And I guess, in order to become a dynasty and to repeat, you always have to become deeper, change things up. I dare I say better, because last year's team was so great. But I guess you would say the Edmonton Oilers are deeper and better as well. This rematch is just going to be two teams going against each other again who are that much more experienced and that much more lethal.
Yeah, this is going to be a different volume than last year. So you got Marchand, you had Tarasenko in that spot with Lundell, Lewis-Serene last year. That's an upgrade. You look out through the lineup, bring in Seth Jones in the way Mikkola is playing. Our defense are arguably better than last year, the goaltending. But you look at the other side, Connor McDavid is doing Connor McDavid things. He's a superstar. If you saw that Amazon Prime series behind the scenes, you know how he wants a Stanley Cup.
You could see it in the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, he looks like he just puts his team on his shoulders sometimes, and that's a little bit scary, right?
Yeah, well, him and Draisaitl, the old Blues Brothers, we are on a mission from God. I mean, that is kind of, when I watch those two players, I just kind of think that. But the evolution of their game, I went back from the last 4 or 5 playoff runs, and the contributions that they were getting without Connor McDavid, outside of Leon Draisaitl not getting a point on any kind of goal, it was anywhere between 22% and 37% that they would get help from their teammates. That's at 63% this year.
Okay.
That's a whopping difference.
Yeah.
So they're not relying so much Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, but when you put that, just to put it in perspective, it's Jordan and Pippen with a good surrounding cast. Maybe when at start, Jordan and Pippen, not a lot, but as soon as they got a good supporting cast, yeah, it gets a little bit dicey and it gets a little bit dangerous. This series is going to have every single element that you could want. You got the best player in the world on the stage for the second year in a row. The Panthers trying to repeat as Cup champions. Panthers deeper, Oilers deeper. We don't have home ice advantage. We got to go to Edmonton first, which is unbelievably loud. Go into that building, it just blows your ears off and almost the top of your head as well. So it's going to be quite an experience, and it's going to be a bounce here, a misplay there, a bad goal. The margin for error in this series will be so slim on both sides. That's what makes it so intriguing.
So does losing Zach Hyman for the Oilers, obviously it's not something that they want to see, but do you think that that's going to be a big factor in the end, or are they deep enough to sort of make up for that?
They're deep enough, but that hurts. That's a big loss. Zach Hyman during the regular season, he's a goal scorer. He had 50-plus goals last year, ended up, 20-something this year. But he had 59 hits in 73 games in the regular season. He had 110 hits in the playoffs this year. In 17 games, he was getting 10 hits a game. So that's mean. That's hard, and plus he's a goal scorer. So that will be a loss in the Edmonton lineup up front. What they didn't have the first 3 rounds was Matthias Ekholm, except for the last game against Dallas. Really premier defenseman and everything that you look back. And you look at the defensemen that they have now. You have Darnell Nurse, very serviceable. Evan Bouchard, it's Bobby Orr and him for the most playoff points per game at this point in their career. So Bouchard, what they call it the Bouch bomb, has got that heavy shot. You go there, they bring in Jake Wallman, who's really good. Went from Detroit to San Jose, back here, and this Jake Wallman kid is good. I believe he's plus 13 or something. Then you bring in Ekholm. You surround all these type of players, and their defense is extremely better than last year, especially in moving the puck. So you can get the puck up to those star forwards much quicker and much better. The question mark always in Edmonton is going to revolve around Stuart Skinner, the goaltender, not Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner's might play some games, but Stuart Skinner, the goaltender, it's a wave. It's up and down, and Sergei Bobrovsky's a little bit more even keel. And Stuart Skinner was good in the games that he won against us last year, but that's kind of just the old Forrest Gump. It's like a box of chocolate. Sometimes you just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, McDavid has had his back when he is criticized. He has all the faith in Skinner. The last one for me, I just can't help but think that this series is going 7, just based on everything that we've.
Go back to Edmonton this time.
Do you have that feeling too? Do you think there's any way they could the Panthers could wrap this thing up before 7, or I don't even want to say the other scenario?
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. Well, for the Panthers part of it, it's you got to go up to Edmonton and get that split. You got to come out of there 1-1 to come back. That puts you did it against the Maple Leafs. You were able to come back and win your 2 home games, but it's still in a Stanley Cup final. It becomes kind of that margin for error becomes a lot slimmer against a really great team. So split up there in Edmonton. If you do get that back to home ice, and then it kind of evolves out from there. Good thing for the Panthers this year, they're 8-2 on the road. Best team in the playoffs on the road, scoring a bunch of goals. That has to continue going into Edmonton. Hostile environment. It does have the makings of a long series, but we all know how that can change and look a little bit different as the series goes on. It looks like 7 on paper, John. It just looks like 7 on paper, and if it goes or gets construed another way, we'll see on injuries and what kind of plays out. But if you throw down the puck right now, it's hard to say that this is not ending earlier than 6 or 7.
I can't wait to hear you and Doug on the radio. I always turn down the national TV broadcast and listen to you guys on the radio, the hometown boys. Thank you so much for joining us, Bill Lindsay.
All right, John, appreciate it. Thank you. I enjoyed the ride, Panther fans. Here we go again.
Have a blast.